I wanted to talk about the cranium as the canvas upon which we do this work. The cranium is a treasure chest, and in this structure, which is small enough to literally hold in the palm of your hand, you've got all these jewels that are contained within. So what I'm talking about are things like the brain, the eyeballs, the little tiny bones that serve as tuning forks inside your ears that are part of the hearing mechanism, your tongue, your olfactory glands, which are part of how you sense smells, the pituitary and pineal glands, the master glands, and the muscles of facial expression, the teeth, just located within this very small volleyball-sized object. You've got most of the things that are central to the expression of life: talking, breathing, eating, sensation, mentation, and expression. And these are the things that we're working on when we do cranial bodywork. Now, in many cases in bodywork, the cranium is getting neglected. You may get a full body massage, and they'll work on every part of your body with the exception of your face, and in many cases your head. In chiropractic school, we were taught to manipulate literally every single bone in the entire body, with the exception of the cranial bones. And to be honest with you, that was my primary motivation for developing my own cranial technique. So I want to talk a little bit about the cranial bones, but first I want to make clear that in this work that I'm calling Ayurvedic cranial therapy, we're going to be working on all those jewels that I just talked about, in many cases directly. We'll be learning techniques to manipulate the eyes. We'll be working directly on the ears, on the sinuses. We'll learn a few techniques even inside the mouth. We'll also learn exercises, eye exercises and tongue exercises to affect those structures. And then we'll be learning all these other tools for maintaining those jewels, using things like therapeutic oils, medicinal herbs, essential oils, and things like that. But the bones really are an extremely important and primary part of this work, because the skeletal system, or the bones, provide a tension frame. They provide a neurological tension frame for the nerves, and they also provide a tension frame for those structures as well, like tension that builds up in the cranial bones can transmit tension to the eyes or to the nerves directly, and create pain syndromes or other kinds of nerve problems affecting the face, like Bell's palsy. And so a central concept of this work is to basically evaluate and then eliminate or reduce the structural tension in the bones. The muscles are very important in this as well, because you've got very strong muscles that overlie the bones and act on those articulations. And so when those muscles are imbalanced or contracted, then or the bones themselves are misaligned, or those articulations have lost their mobility, then that creates strain inside the system, and strain inside the system creates all of these undesirable chemical effects. And many of these clinical problems can be improved or eliminated by simply learning how to get into that structure and reduce the tension and stresses that form within. Now, so a part of this course is we're going to be studying these bones. It's an extremely beautiful system of 24 bones. Sometimes you think the cranium looks like one giant bone. If you look at a skeleton or a model, if you look carefully, you'll see that it's 24 bones that are all pieced together like a Chinese jigsaw puzzle, with very interesting types of ways that they articulate with each other. And the bones are all interesting shapes and have very interesting ways that they connect with each other. And so that's a big part of cranial work is to understand the system of how this is all put together, and then to know how to get in there and to get the tension out of it. And so we study this in different ways in this program. One of the ways is I bring a real bone model, not just a plastic model, but a real bone cranium, and we can kind of look at how this thing is pieced together. But even better than that is this plastic model that we'll be playing with in the course. And you can see that the bones are color-coded, and that makes it kind of easy to differentiate them. And you can look at how they're pieced together. And you can kind of look at these types of articulations. Here's the other piece. And so actually this model consists of all 24 cranial bones. And the real cool thing about it is you can take it apart and put it back together again. And that's something that all the students in my course will get to do. Take it apart and put it back together again. You can, when you take it apart, you can look at all these individual bones, and you can see there's just amazing shapes to these bones. And you can study the shapes. These bones are like amazing sculptures, and each little protuberance and hole have a function. So if you take this apart, you just take the frontal bone and the sphenoid bone off. Then you can also just study the ways that these bones articulate with each other. You can see the sphenoid bone's a fascinatingly shaped bone. It's like a butterfly, doesn't it? And how these bones are pieced together. And so this provides a three-dimensional model that gives you a feeling for this structure in a way that's much better than just looking at pictures in a book or slides on the screen. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about today. Hopefully some of you will join me in one of these trainings. This is really awesome and fascinating stuff. It's 7 days of intense, nonstop learning, and it's very intense. That's why we call it an intensive.